Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, wherever you're watching from the world. Welcome to Learn English Live with me, Anpu. And today we're going to talk about a motivational topic. And the title of this video is Don't Give Up. This was actually requested by one of my subscribers, and I think this is a really important topic. There's no point me putting out educational content out there without me also helping you along with your motivation. And this is a chance for you to have a chat with me, discussing certain problems that you might have experienced along the way. And I've actually got a few tips prepared for you, and we can talk about it in more detail. And they're kind of tips that also help me stay motivated in my life. You know, no matter what hurdle I've had to overcome, it's so important to stay healthy, mental health wise, but also physically as well. But also just kind of making sure that you don't experience burnout, because then how are you going to achieve your goal if you are kind of struggling to get over those hurdles? So I wanted to talk about that in more detail today. So this is an educational video, but it's kind of talking about motivation. Just wanted to say hello to everybody who has joined. Feel free to message. I'm keeping an eye out on the comment section, so feel free to let me know any problems that you've had in terms of motivation, and I'm happy to share my tips with you and kind of share some light on it. So the first tip that I had was think about why you're doing it. Think about why you started Think about why you started learning English in the first place. Excuse me. Think about why you started to learn English in the first place. Think about what you're doing it for. Always have the reason in the forefront of your mind, because if you start losing track as to why you even started doing it in the first place, then you're not going to feel very motivated, because you're going to start to lose sight. You might get sidetracked. You might focus on another goal. And this is what's really important about goal setting, is that it's important to kind of have mini goals along the way. This actually brings me on to my second tip, mini missions. Think about your overall goal, but then how can we split that up into more manageable chunks? Because if you set yourself a goal for, I don't know, in 5 years' time I want to sound fluent and I want to sound like a local, there's two problems with those types of targets. What does sounding like a local even mean? That's subjective. And secondly, 5 years is a long time. So a better target would be, in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to practice my ED sounds, words which end in ED. I'm going to practice that in 2 weeks, and I'm going to master that, and I'm going to feel confident with that. Because then in 2 weeks' time, or in a month's time, you will feel that level of success. However, if you've just left that for 5 years, then you're going to burn out and you're going to feel tired if you're not reaching your goals, and you're going to lack motivation. Now, let's come on to the subjective point about sounding better. How do you quantify that, right? This is another tip that personal trainers use in the gym. If you set yourself a goal for the gym and you're like, I just want to look better, I just want to look bigger, how is that goal achievable? Because you're always going to want to be better. You're always going to want to look better when you look at yourself in the mirror. So that's not a very good target. A target could be, right, I want to increase my weight from 55 kilograms to 65 kilograms, right? Or I want my diameter of my biceps to increase by however many centimeters. I want my waistline to reduce by however many centimeters, right? Because once you hit that numerical value, then you will feel more motivated. So the thing with English is you can't add a numerical value. Or the thing that you can do to add a numerical value would be to say, right, in 1 week I'm going to learn 50 words. And then once you've hit Sunday, the final day of the week, and you've hit those 50 words, you will feel a level of accomplishment, and that will motivate you. So always try and add a numerical value to your targets, and also mini missions as well. Just going to take a look at the live comments. Okay, so Sandru asks, I find it very hard to remember new words I learn. What to do? Please help. Okay. If you're struggling to remember new words and new vocabulary, I would break it down. So first of all, it's really important to understand the meaning. Now, I'm not just saying read a dictionary. In order to fully understand the meaning of a word, you need to hear it in context. So what that means is you need to read it in a sentence, right? So what you would do is you would go online, you would find sentences with that word. So what I teach my students is I go onto Google and you type in that word. So say, for example, you want to learn what elated means. You type in elated into Google and then you say in a sentence. So elated in a sentence. You type that into Google and then it gives you a few lists of websites and they kind of take sentences from various sources using that word. And then you kind of get a feel for how it's used in the sentence. That's the first way to improve your vocabulary. The second way is then you learn the spelling of that word. So you learn how to say it. Well, that would be the second tip, learn how to say it. And the third tip would be learn how to spell the word, right? After you've learned how to spell the word, the fourth way to improve your vocabulary and try and remember that word is to use it in day-to-day life. So you tell yourself, right, the next week I'm going to try and use that in conversation at least twice. Okay? I hope that helps, and I hope that I've broken that down for you as to how you can master new vocabulary. Dawan Verma says, "Hi Anpu, can you suggest me any web series for learning British accent?" I actually don't know any. There's a lot of YouTubers out there who offer kind of free YouTube videos, but I'm actually thinking of making a course about the British accent, and I'd love to hear your ideas and thoughts about what you would like from my online course. So that's coming up soon. Let's read a few more questions. Gucci Prada Isabel says, people say that we are not supposed to reveal our goal. What do you think about that? That's a really good question. I actually think, yeah, it's important to be reserved with your goals. Like you can't just kind of show off to the entire world because you don't know who you can trust, right? But at the same time, I think it's so important to share your goals with your friends. This actually brings me up to... I've actually made a list of points, and this is actually the fifth point that I wanted to make. Talking to someone in a similar boat. Holding yourself accountable. So it's so important to share your goals with some people. Because otherwise, if you're alone in the journey, you're going to feel very alone and isolated, number one. And two, you're not going to feel held accountable. And what that means is you've got no friends to check up on you, saying, why haven't you done that yet? Why haven't you learnt that yet? Why are you being lazy? That's what we mean by holding yourself accountable, right? So I think that's super important, super, super important. So no, I think you should share your goals with your best friends and those who care about you and support you. So I actually, me and my sister, we hold each other accountable. My family members, for example, like if I haven't made a YouTube video, my sister calls me and she's like, "Are you okay? How comes you haven't made a video lately? What's been going on? Are you feeling motivated?" Right. So it's so important to kind of keep yourself accountable and track your progress with someone else. Now, talking to someone in a similar boat. So if you're struggling to learn an accent or if you're struggling to improve on your vocabulary, there's a lot of people out there who are going through the same thing as you. So if you share your problems and if you share your ideas, you're going to help one another out, right? So you kind of grow together. How to frame a sentence? So we're talking about motivation today, guys. So happy to answer any questions that you have on staying motivated and kind of not experiencing that kind of like feeling of giving up, Right, let's move on to another tip that I had for you guys. So burnout. What burnout means is you just feel so tired that you just give up. You've burnt out. You put so much effort in. Imagine you're going to work every day, you're working 2 jobs, maybe you're supporting your family, I don't know, you're going through a breakup. You know, everybody experiences different problems, and sometimes you just burn out. You just feel like you just can't do it anymore. And there's a few tips that I had for burnout. One is you should never view it as a sprint. It's a marathon. Okay, the difference between a sprint and a marathon. A sprint is where you give it all, you're running and you're giving it all your energy for that 100-meter race, but you know it's going to end. But you can't sprint miles. So running a marathon is a longer distance run, and you have to spread out your energy. So don't set too ambitious goals. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Give yourself relaxation days. Give yourself forgiveness. Forgive yourself, right? Because if you haven't hit your goal, there's probably a bunch of reasons for that, right? You can't be too hard on yourself. Continue to motivate yourself. It's all about consistency. Now, if you tell yourself, right, I'm going to learn 100 words, and if I don't learn 100 words today, I'm going to feel like a failure, don't do that to yourself. If you know you can hit it, fantastic. But if you know you're only going to hit 3 words, because you're so busy, you've just come home from work, and you're so tired, hit yourself a tiny goal. 3 words you're going to learn today. And guess what? In a week, what's 3 times 7? That's 21. That's 21 words, which wouldn't have been in your vocabulary if you hadn't have just spent those few minutes just learning those 3 words. And then what's 21 times 4? 84. That's 84 words in a month, right? It might seem a little bit, but this is the kind of incremental changes, the consistency, which will really help you. Akashdeep asks a fantastic question. How can I motivate myself without having the need of going to a motivational source, like motivational videos? That's a fantastic question. Well, you follow the tips that I'm giving you. Like, you're absolutely right. There's a certain argument that, like, you shouldn't be wasting time online, right? So you hold yourself accountable. I think the biggest tip for that, the biggest answer to that question would be, like, health, right? You keep healthy, you stay consistent, and you'll find that you don't need to, I don't know, come to motivational videos, because you might have come to you might have come to motivational videos because you've burnt out and you feel like you need to stay motivated. But if you've kept that consistency, then maybe you might not feel the need to come to a motivational video. But yeah, it's a really cool, creative question. Let me just read a few more of these questions. Some really good ones coming in. So, Kritika Kerdwal asks a really good question. You talk about how people judge you for having an Indian accent, but people judge you for even talking in a British accent. I mean, how do I learn then? Yeah, fantastic question. So, my advice for this one would be, that's why you don't have accent in the forefront of your mind. You have clear and expressive speech. You improve your elocution. You communicate clearly, right? So that should be your number one goal. Because if people understand you, that's going to set you apart from other communicators. Now, in terms of learning an accent, I think it's totally fine to learn a different accent, but it's super important to kind of love your, I know this is going to sound cliched, but love your identity. That's my hashtag. It's super important to remember who you are and keep that core, and also trying to find that balance of staying authentic. Now, I've actually discussed this in a lot of detail in my other video. It's with Tom from Eat Dream English, and it's on my channel. I'll write it down. I can't remember what the title was. I think it's like, I made it last year. It's on my channel. Actually, let me just quickly search up the title of that video because I think it'll be really. I think it's a 20-minute video, and I can't repeat the points that I've made here. Go watch that video because I think it'll really help you. Let me just quickly type in the name of that video, and you can just copy and paste it into YouTube. Okay, so advice. Okay, yeah. The video is called Advice. Struggling to change your accent. Okay, typed it onto the live chat. But yes, thank you for your question. Okay, so let me move on to some more tips. I was doing some research, and psychology and brain science talks about how it's really important to put pen to paper. So physically get a pen, right? Write it down, because this helps you memorize things and actually physically do worksheets. For my live streams, I'm actually creating like free PDF documents, free worksheets for you guys to download on my website. Just www.conquerbritishEnglish. Okay. Let me write that down into the comment section as well. I think it's super important to kind of physically have a folder, like print things out. If you don't have a printer, then get a pen and paper and just write things out, and that's super important. Right, the next tip I've got is rotation. If you feel like you're getting really bored of one strategy, then change up your strategy, right? So if you've never, if you're always learning words, for example, the 3 words that we were talking about, if you feel like, oh my gosh, you've been doing that for 2 months and you're just getting so bored of just doing those 3 words, then change it up, right? Add variety to your life. Maybe there are other ways to learn. Maybe buy a textbook, learn from that textbook for a few months, or speak to pay for lessons with a native speaker, or I don't know, watch TV shows, right? Watch British TV shows. There's lots of different. Add variety to your goal and your life as well. The last tip that I've got for you guys is integrate your chosen language into as many aspects of your life as possible. So let me read that out one more time. Integrate your chosen language into as many aspects of your life as possible. So what that means is, if you're learning English, but your mother tongue is, I don't know, Tamil or Hindi, you want to start to change the ratio. Maybe if you're speaking 90% Hindi in your life and then 10% English, you want to change that to 40% English, 50% English. You want to integrate English into your life. So if you're on a telephone call, don't speak in Hindi, speak in English. If you're watching a Hindi show during dinner, watch a British TV show. If you're listening to the radio in the mornings for news, listen to English, right? Or listen to that particular chosen language. So that's one way to stay motivated, is because you'll hit your goal faster if you integrate that into your life as a greater percentage. So those were my tips, and I hope you found that useful and motivational. I just wanted to say one more thing before I start to answer a few more questions is, I understand that it's difficult. And I don't want you to give up, because we only live once. And you know why you set this goal in the first place. And if you don't know why you set this goal, think about why you set this goal. Think about why you want to keep this motivation. Think about the people who are cheering you on. Think about the people that you're going to let down. Think about yourself. You don't want to let yourself down. You've put so much effort into it and you've come such a long way. You don't want to give up halfway. And remember, set those achievable goals. And despite all the difficulties that's happening in the world at the moment, education is so empowering. So empowering. And think about where that will take you. Alright? Okay. Just reading a few more questions. Rahul asks, I want to start learning some other languages like Spanish or something. Do you have any advice? Yeah, I actually want to learn another language myself, so feel free to advise me about learning another language. Um, there's lots of apps out there. I think that's a fantastic way to start. And also learning from the basic grammar is also really important as well. So don't try and launch yourself into the deep end. That would be my advice. Always learn the basic grammar. Always like work your way up gradually as well. But also kind of if you want to use day-to-day vocabulary, if you want to speed up that process, then kind of look out for useful phrases and words too. But yes, guys, that brings this live stream to a close. Ranvir asks, can you suggest some best British accent songs? I have actually put that into my planner, in my diary. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about that. All your ideas I do put into my diary, into my planner, so that I make a video about that in the future. But I'm making 3 videos a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Join me tomorrow for another live stream. We're going to be analysing Priyanka Chopra's accent, so that's really exciting. And I'm going to prepare that tonight. And I hope you've been enjoying these live streams. I hope you've been finding them useful. I know a lot of you have been kind of messaging me on Instagram, on my emails as well. So keep the messages coming. I'll write my email down here in the comment section. At Conquer British English is my Instagram page dedicated to English, and at Anpu London is my Instagram page dedicated to everything artistic and filmmaking. All right, guys. I've really enjoyed that. I hope you leave this live stream feeling motivated, and I'll see you tomorrow, same time, 12 o'clock London time, 4:30 India time, 7 o'clock in the morning, New York time. Take care, everybody. See you soon. See you tomorrow.